If you're a fan of sour cream and onion potato chips, or you're just looking for a quick, easy, and delicious way to change up your chicken dishes, I have the perfect solution for you here. This is my sour cream and onion chicken pasta, and the sour cream is in quotes because I'm not exactly using sour cream. But I'm sure a lot of you already know what that not sour cream ingredient is. So if you'd like to see how this is made, stick around because it's coming up next. Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name's Roy. I'm a home cook, an amateur baker, and I am here on this channel sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. Now I will start off letting you know, you can probably tell already that I'm having a lot of issues with my jaw today. If you're new here, I have neuropathy and myopathy, meaning my muscles and nerves don't always work correctly, and a lot of times it's in my jaw, which makes speaking a little difficult. So I'm sure there will be a lot of editing on this one. Now today is one of mine and is for a sour cream and onion chicken pasta. I was going to do a while ago when I did a casserole, I had asked if people wanted a sour cream and onion chicken, and a lot of people were interested. But I'm not doing it as a casserole. I'm doing this as a stovetop meal and it comes together quickly, so I don't think you'll complain. Now the reason that I air quoted sour cream is because I'm not using sour cream. I'm going to be using plain non-fat Greek yogurt. You could use sour cream if you want, you could use a light sour cream, but I don't want to have any bites or points extra. So I'm going to be using the non-fat Greek yogurt. And there are other ingredients, so let's go over them now. Here I have 1 pound of chicken breasts that I've cut up into bite-sized pieces. Now what I did was I took a knife and went through the center and then cut it up into bite-sized pieces. And that I find is the easiest way to make it into bite-sized pieces. Now this was a little over 1 breast. You could do more, I could do more as well, because I'm on the Better Balance plan of healthy, which is equivalent to the old WW Blue plan, which leaves chicken at 0 bites, 0 points. But for the sake of the recipe, I'm going with 1 pound because that way I can give an accurate count on the calories and macros. Now here I have 1.5 cups of frozen peas. You don't have to use peas. I just wanted to get a veggie in here, and it can be anything you want. I'm using frozen and I will be putting those in at a certain time. If you opt for canned instead, then you would add that later. Or if you went with fresh, you would add that probably a little bit earlier. But I will go over that as we're going on. Here I have 1 medium onion that I have sliced. Now I've sliced it from the root to the tip. To do that, first I would cut off the top of the onion. I don't even peel it first. I cut off the top, then cut it in half, then easily peel it. Then I cut it from the root to the top in thin slices. And you want it cut that way because that way the onion will soften more. If you cut it across the width, that tends to hold on to its structure a little bit more, which is great for like salads and things like that. Not so great when you want to get a nice soft texture on the onion. Here I have 1 cup of non-fat Greek yogurt, and that is at room temperature only because when I do put it in, it's going to be better if it's at room temperature than if it's very cold. If it's too cold and you put it into a hot pan, it may seize up and curdle. Here I have 8 ounces of pasta. You can use any pasta that you want, and you don't even need to use pasta. You could do rice, you could do potatoes, you could do cauliflower rice. So it doesn't have to be pasta, but that's the way I like to make it. Here I have 1/2 cup of chicken broth, and you may need a little bit more later if the sauce is a little too thick for you, but I really don't think it should be. Here I have 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. That is about 2 cloves if you mince it yourself. And here I have 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. I think that's hard to say normally. Try saying it with this jaw. I have 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Now, you may be wondering, if we're already adding garlic and onions to this, why add their powders? Well, that is because we're going to get more depth of flavor from that, and it'll be a little more like the flavor you associate with sour cream and onion. All right, so I have my 12-inch skillet over here heating up. Let me shuffle a few things around and we will get started. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is just mix the onion and garlic powder together with the salt and pepper and stir that a little bit just to combine things. And then I'm going to take this seasoning mix and just sprinkle it all over the chicken and toss that around so that the chicken gets fairly well coated with our seasonings. Okay, that's pretty well tossed. Now I'm just going to set this aside for now. And I'm going to take my cooking spray and just lightly coat my pan with that, my skillet. And I'm going to add in the onions. And now we want to just toss these around a little bit. So I'm just going to cook these down until they're browned and softened, about 5 or 6 minutes. So you just want to break them up as much as you can in the pan. And you want to stir them on occasion as they're cooking. You don't want to let them sit for too long, or one side will get very dark. You want to just come by and occasionally give them a little stir as they're cooking. But I will get these browned and softened and I'll be back. All right, so it's been about 6 minutes. Now what I'm going to do is add in my frozen peas. They've mostly thawed, but they don't have to be completely thawed. If you want, you could use fresh vegetables and you would add them in maybe a few minutes earlier just so they have a little more time to cook. The peas just need to thaw out and heat up. So I'm going to give this probably about another 5 minutes and I'll be back. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. One thing I did forget to do, and this is an example of do as I say or as I write in the recipe, not as I do. Before I added in the peas, I should have added in the Worcestershire sauce and stir that in because you want to give those onions a nice little caramelized note that was going to enhance their flavor. That's in, the peas are in, my pasta is cooking and just about ready. So now what I'm going to do is push all of these veggies off to the side to open up the center of the pan. And I'm going to add in our chicken and just spread that out. And what we're going to do is just let this sit on this side for about a minute so it's going to get some nice color. Then we're going to flip them. Okay, my pasta is done, and what I did, because it's done before the dish, is I set it over the pot that I cooked it in a strainer and sprayed it with a little cooking spray. Toss that around just so they won't stick while they're waiting to be put into our dish. Now I'm going to take the chicken and turn it, and we're getting some nice color on that side we let sit there. And while it's not a requirement for this, you may want to have a pan, a skillet that has a lid, because what I like to do is cover it and let it act almost like an oven. I'm going to cover that up for just a few minutes. The cooking of the chicken takes about 6 to 8 minutes altogether. And just for clarification, I said 6 to 8 minutes, not 68 minutes. I don't know if my jaw is making things a little unclear. So I needed to clarify that. So let me get this chicken cooked and I'll be back. All right, so it's been about 6 minutes total. I'm just going to stir the chicken through into our peas and onions. And because I had it covered, there is some moisture in here that I'm gonna let evaporate a little bit, so that way it doesn't make this too liquid. All right, so now what we need to do, I'm going to turn this down to medium low. The reason I'm turning it down is because we are going to be adding in the Greek yogurt. If you don't have induction like I do, where the temperature drops almost immediately, then take it off of the heat for this part, and then you can bring it back onto the heat on medium low. So I'm gonna add in the garlic and just stir that through until the garlic becomes fragrant, which only takes about 30 seconds. That also helps to get some of the bitterness from the garlic to go away and kind of mellow. So now what I'm going to do is add in the chicken broth And I want to mix that through. And if you're not using a nonstick skillet like I am, and you have any brown bits, this is where you would scrape them up like this, get them off of the bottom, because that is flavor, all of that browned bits on the bottom. All right, so now that our chicken broth has warmed up a little bit, I'm going to add in the non-fat Greek yogurt and just slowly start to incorporate that into our mixture here. You want to be gentle so that you're not pushing things out of the skillet, but also you want to be able to basically temper the Greek yogurt into the sauce so that it doesn't come to a shocking temperature and then, as I said, want to curdle. So just mix that all in until you don't see any lumps of the Greek yogurt anymore. I am going to now turn this back up to medium because I want to get that to heat up a little bit. I don't want it to start to boil. I want it to just heat up. So if it does start to boil, I'm going to immediately turn off the heat so that no curdling happens. Now, if you were using canned vegetables, I would add them in at this point because they tend to be a little softer and you don't want to stir them too much. And just drain them off and add the can in here just after you incorporate the Greek yogurt, so that way they can warm up along with the sauce. And it should only take 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, so that has warmed up for a few minutes. I'm going to turn it off now because I don't want to overheat the Greek yogurt. And I'm going to add in the pasta and stir that through. And of course, you want to be gentle, just tossing it so that you can get it coated in our sauce and not spill it out onto the stovetop. And there you have it, my sour cream and onion chicken pasta. Delicious, comes together quickly, makes a great weeknight meal. Now, if you're not a fan of onions, Jennifer Lynn, I apologize for this one. You could probably change it up for just mushrooms or even peppers. I haven't tried that yet because we enjoy it with the onions, and I am going for a sour cream and onion type of flavor. And that's all there is to it. Now, this makes 4 servings, and each of those servings, because I am using real pasta, obviously, if you use something else, the bites and points will change, as will the calories and macros. But using regular pasta as I did, this is only going to be 5 Better Balanced bites or Old Blue points. I'm not sure where the current points would be, but they would be around that range. But that's why I give you the blue points so you can gauge from there what this would be on the current plan. Now, that is for the pasta only. That's the only thing in here that is giving you any bites or points. Now, I don't know about the current plan, but I know on the blue, it does not give you any points for the sauce and chicken and onion and all of that. The pasta is the only place we are getting bites or points. Now, if you are following calories, the calories for 1/4 of this would be 487. And if you're following macros, here comes my expanded list of macros. The fat would be 10.9 grams. Saturated fat would be 2.3 grams. Protein would be 33.9 grams. Carbs would be 70.6 grams. Fiber would be 5.8 grams. And sugars would be 8.4 grams for 1/4 of this dish. Now, if you enjoyed this video and this recipe, I'd appreciate you doing the usual: like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video. I know we have a tag video coming up on the 13th for those of you who are interested in those. And we have a collab coming up the week after. So there are things coming up on days that I don't typically share. So hit that notification bell and you will be alerted. Now, if you want the recipe for this, it's going to be linked directly down in the description box, as well as the link to my blog itself. If you're looking for any of my recipes, go check it out there. Also down there, there's a link to a site called Buy Me a Coffee, which is kind of like Patreon. If you are able to support the channel in that way, I would appreciate it. There are a few other things listed down below, as well as my social media, if you want to follow me over there. I have my Instagram and 3 Facebook groups that I am part of. So go check out that description box for all sorts of information. So dinner is ready. I think I'm going to let my jaw do a little exercise, and I'm really going to enjoy this type of exercise. But I hope that you'll be enjoying some of this yourself very soon. So until next time, bye.